This meeting of the Sedona Fire District Governing Board is now called to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In a moment of silence for the first responders, firefighters, and police officers who've passed since our last meeting.
Take a moment to reflect on the 8 police officers that have passed since our last board meeting.
Thank you.
Firefighter data was not available.
Roll call. Helen McNeil, Chair.
Here.
Corey Cooperman, Clerk.
Present.
Diana Christensen, Member. Here. Scott Frigette, Member.
Here.
Lance Waldrop, absent.
Chief, do we have any members of the public who wish to speak?
We do not.
We have one member virtually.
Oh, we do. My apologies.
No worries. They're on mute.
Is it Lydia?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's all.
No, we do not.
Okay,
That's what he said.
thank you. Okay, the consent agenda. Everyone has received a copy of the regular meeting minutes from December 16th, 2025. I would like a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. We've approved the consent agenda. Mr. Bulger, would you like to begin and present our financial report?
Yes, I will. So, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. You have the December financials in the packet. Starting off, there we are. Our total revenue for the month of December was at 2.997 million. You can see there's a positive variance there of 233,000. Property tax collection was a little bit behind. We're actually doing really good year to date. But non-levy revenue did really good. We were over our projection by about 266,000. A couple things driving that. One, we did receive 110,000 in December for our Prop 207 money. So that's our drug money. That's our allocation from marijuana excise taxes. In addition, ambulance revenue and interest income also helped attribute to that positive variance. Expense side, we're at 1,723,000 in total expenses for the month of December. That was under budget by $52,000. And we only had 2 areas where we had a negative variance, one under buildings and land related to facility maintenance. And then again, under communication IT for some computer and equipment purchases. Next. Year to date, we're sitting right at about 6 months through the fiscal year. Our total revenue is at 17.5 million through this period of time. Our revenue's over budget by 1.1 million, with $100,000 of that being related to overage and property tax. And so really just again, function of timing, but I also will point out too, we could actually end the year at or slightly over budget because last year we had some delinquencies that kind of put us behind. However, and then non-levy revenues at $1,032,000. Again, kind of same things driving that. Ambulance revenue, our wildland program was very busy this past year, as well as our interest income. Expenses are at 11.9 million through the first 6 months of the year. That's under budget by 136,000. The variance in personnel is being driven by those wildland deployments. So while we had additional revenues, it also caused our projected expenses for deployment to exceed our budget. But all of that's covered and reimbursed by the state. So the net effect of the district is still to the positive. Next slide. As far as budget expended, we're pretty much right at target at 50% expended with 50% remaining. As far as the breakdown, personnel is our highest expense at 86% of our total expenses. Operations is at 7%, communication at 4%, and managerial at 3%. And then finally, the last slide there, we ended the month with 24.5 million total cash on hand. It's about an increase of about 800,000 over the prior year. However, I will also point out we also invested about 2.7 million in that same comparison in fixed assets. So while our cash isn't up a lot, we did spend a lot of money on capital infrastructure for the district. And total liabilities, small increase from 33.3 to 33.6, mainly just a function of some of the accruals in the audit that Lydia is going to talk to you about next. So unless there's any questions, that is the report for December.
I just have one. I'm curious about this Prop 207. Is that is that an annual?
We get it twice a year. So we
Okay.
get once in end of June and then again end of December. And so it's an allocation based on our number of active PSPRS participants. And so they take all the money, they take everybody in PSPRS and divide it up by the total number of participants and then allocate it to each agency within PSPRS. So police get this, DPS gets this, fire departments, fire districts. And so it's to help offset the cost of our pension.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
It runs right around 220 a year.
It's very nice. All from the sale of.
Very Jane.
Yeah. So encourage your friends, neighbors.
Yes, okay.
Declassified.
So before we go down that particular rabbit hole, do I have a motion to approve the financial report?
I move to approve the financial report for December of 2025.
And I will second the motion to approve the financial report for December 2025. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The report's approved.
Thank you.
Okay, Gabe, back to you for the audit information.
All right, well, Madam Chair, members of the board, the audit has concluded. And we have Lydia Hunter with Beach Fleshman to present the findings of the audit. And we don't really like working with Lydia, but we'll do it, so.
Well, thank you very much, Gabe, for that introduction. Madam Chair, members of the board, it is a pleasure to be here with you today. Would you like me to share my screen with the slides? Oh, I don't think
that would be great. Let me stop sharing. Okay.
I don't think I have access to share. Sorry, I just realized that.
If you go to people,
Add you.
right there, you might, yeah.
Make a presenter.
Perfect.
All right. Try again, Lydia.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, thank you for the opportunity to present our audit results today. So this is the audit as of June 30, 2025. So yeah, that's your fiscal year. It runs through June 30. So let me go through. So just to highlight our audit results today. So I'm pleased to report we're prepared to issue an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. So that is a clean opinion. That is the best opinion that we can provide. And you'll find that on page 11 of the annual comprehensive financial report. If anyone asks, that's where our report is, and that's where it says your clean opinion. So congratulations to the district. That is the best news I have for today, is that you are going to receive a clean opinion. The other bullet points on this slide just tell you the things I'm going to highlight today. Just going to go through some required communications, very high level financial information, talk about internal controls, and talk about the annual comprehensive financial report. So first, some required communications. So this is what accounting standards require us to communicate with you as charged with governance. And the first being accounting policies. So the district is responsible for the selection and use of accounting policies. This year, there was a new accounting standard that they had to implement, and that's called GASB 101, and it relates to compensated absences. So it changed the way that you defined compensated absences. And for the district, this had a small impact. Your sick leave policies, it did have a change in how we had to value some of your sick leave policies for those newer employees that weren't paid out any sick leave. Under this new standard, we still have to consider how much sick leave they might use. It's not just about what's paid out. So had we implemented this standard last year, it would have increased your liabilities about $78,000. So didn't have a huge impact, but that's kind of the level of impact that this new standard had. Your financial statements are full of estimates. There are two estimates which we consider significant to your financial statements. So if the estimate's not correct, it could have a material impact on your financial statements. The first being the collectability of your ambulance accounts receivable. So again, we have to cut off the audit on a certain date, so as of June 30. So those ambulance receivables that you have, how much of that are you actually going to collect? How much is going to be a contractual adjustment? That information is not known, and it is based on an estimate. The other estimate is your pension liability. So that's a very significant estimate based on lots of actuarial assumptions. But obviously, if any of those assumptions change, your liability might change. We believe the disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. There are no sensitive disclosures to report to you today. We had no significant disagreements with management. So we had no disagreements with management. So we appreciate everyone at the district and their help with the audit. We do look at state statutes as part of the audit. So we are required by the specific state statute to express whether we believe you're in compliance with some budget requirements. So that is included in the internal control report. We believe we are not aware of any reason why you're not in compliance with that. And then I'm just going to talk briefly about some adjustments. So I know this is probably hard to see, but I'll just explain the gist of this slide. This first line here is the pre-audit balances. So those are the numbers we were given when we started the audit. And then it gets down here to the audited balances. So this kind of gives you an understanding of the type of things we adjust as part of the audit. The first three items on here are client provided adjustments. So Gabe and his team gave us these adjustments, which is just a function of timing. We needed to start the audit and these three adjustments weren't ready at that point. So there's no concern with any of those. And then you'll see we only had 4 adjustments with the audit itself. The first one, very small, just to reclassify between revenue and expense, so no impact on net income. And then these other 3 adjustments are standard, recurring, and we do these as a non-attest service to the district. So with the new lease standard that came out, we have a software that will calculate your leases for you for the lessor and the lessee. So it's more efficient for us to do that calculation. Same thing with the pension adjustments. We do that calculation as a non-attest service. So these 3 adjustments are normal and recurring. So really there were no adjustments that were unusual that had an impact to net income. So great job on that. I'm also required to tell you what we consider uncorrected audit adjustments. And this relates to that implementation of that accounting standard. So the 78,000, when we implement a new accounting standard, sometimes we have to implement it retrospectively, which means we have to go back and restate the prior year so the numbers are comparable. So the prior year impact to the standard was, like I said, 78,000. We did not feel it was material to restate your financial statement, so we're recording it as a past adjustment. So I'm just required to tell you about it. We think it's immaterial. The district thinks it's immaterial, and we did not restate your financial statements for the implementation of that new standard. All right, so this slide is just a 3-year trend of your statement of financial position. The annual comprehensive financial statement itself just shows the 2025 numbers, but in a little bit more detail. You'll see that you've got a healthy trend in your total assets, driven mostly by the increase this year in your capital assets. So you had about $3.5 million additions in capital assets, offset by about $1 million of depreciation expense. You'll see here your net pension liability just been trending slowly up, only increased about $400,000 from the prior year. And then here, I don't like to talk about equity because it's a little confusing, but I want to just point out a couple of things. The total net position, which is your total equity, has been trending up, which is exactly what we want to see. But we also want to see the unrestricted net position trend to be positive. And it went negative because you tied up more assets in capital assets this year. So we're working towards seeing that ultimately be positive, but you do have a very healthy trend in your total net position. And ultimately, we hope to see the unrestricted net position become positive as well. And then this is a summarized income statement. Again, very summarized level, but you can see the trend in your revenues. You had a almost a $3 million increase in your revenue year over year. Your property taxes went up about 5% due to increased assessed valuation. You had a significant increase in the charges for services. That's wildland going up about 400,000 and ambulance revenue going up about 300,000. And then your operating expenses went up. That's many things, salaries, equipment, small equipment, vehicle kind of purchases. And we pull out the pension expense because that's actuarially determined. For your reference, what you actually paid for pension contributions during the year was about 4.1 million. So not that different from the expense, but on a cash basis, you're paying about 4 million a year in pension contributions. And then this is just a summarized statement of cash flows. Really nothing I want to highlight here. We've already talked about that you did have a significant purchases of capital assets, but overall your cash stayed in line with the prior year. Are there any questions on the numbers before I move on?
Any questions?
No.
No, I think not.
Okay, so I'll just have a few more slides to go through. One is recent pronouncements. So next year we have another GASB standard that we have to implement. This one isn't going to change the numbers. This is a financial reporting standard. So where you'll most likely see the changes in the MD&A, the management's discussion and analysis. So that's at the front of the financial statements. There's going to be more specific analysis required, so you will see some changes in that presentation next year. And also the budgetary comparison information. The budgetary comparison for your general fund is a required supplemental schedule, but right now we don't have to explain anything about it, we just have to show it. And going forward, we will have to explain significant variances between budget to actual on that schedule. And that will be effective for next year's financial statements. Okay, for those of you that have been on the board a while, you've heard me say this in the past, but we do want to stress internal controls are important to the district. Controls are there to safeguard your assets. One important internal control is segregation of duties, right? Not having the same person do multiple parts of a process. And we feel like the district does segregate duties to the best of their ability given their size. So I just want to point out, though, that due to their size, ideally we'd want more segregation of duties, but it's not feasible from a cost-benefit standard. So your oversight role as a board, your fiduciary role, your questioning of financial information is an important part of the oversight for financial reporting. And then finally, just a little bit on the actual annual comprehensive financial report itself. This is this large, it's 99 pages this year. So that's your annual comprehensive financial report. There are 3 sections to this report, and I'm not going to go through it. Don't worry, I'm going to stop after this slide. But there are 3 sections in the report. All you're required to do is the financial section. So the financial section is about page 11 to 76. That's what accounting standards require. So when you're required to have an audit, that's what you need to do. So you guys go above and beyond what is required by submitting a complete annual comprehensive financial report. So that introductory section, that statistical section are going above and beyond and giving the reader more information than is otherwise required in an audit. And as a result of that, you did receive the GFOA certification last year, and we expect you guys to submit and receive that again for this year. But I bring this up too, just so everyone understands, our auditor's report is in the financial section, and we are only expressing an opinion on the financial section. The introductory and statistical sections we're required to read, make sure nothing contradicts anything that we've seen, but we are not expressing an opinion on the numbers that are in the introductory or statistical section. And with that, I would like to thank everyone at the district and open it up to any questions.
Do we have any questions? It doesn't sound like, Lydia, it doesn't sound like we have any questions.
Okay.
So with that, what I will do is ask for a motion to accept the annual financial report, or the fiscal year 2025 annual financial audit. Do I have a motion? So moved. And I will second. Any other discussion?
I would just want to say that the reason there's no questions is that was an excellent presentation and very
Thank you.
complete. And we also got a very nice clean bill of how our finances are managed. So that made for no questions on my part.
Thank you.
Especially
Thank you.
that last part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, with that, so all in favor of accepting the fiscal year 2025 annual financial audit, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Leah, we've accepted it. Thank you. Let me echo what Corey said. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for what looks to be a very thorough financial report. I'm not sure it's safe to say, but we look forward to seeing you next year.
Well, I do look forward to seeing all of you next year. So
Great.
thank you very much. We really do appreciate the relationship with the district, and everyone there is great to work with. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Okay. Chief Missoula's, the staff report.
All right, I will represent Chief Coyle's report. He is down in Phoenix this week doing the final Dragon Bravo wrap up. It sounds amazing. A little bit more work than he anticipated, but I think there'll be some lessons learned out of it for the entire well-done fire service community. So it'll be good.
Will there be a sort of publicly available version of it?
I'm sure that there will be something, but to what extent I do not know. Yes, because it's yeah, he had an interview with the Secretary of the Department of the Interior last week, so I do not know what will be made public. More to come. So human resources, we're trying to figure out what's what. Currently have open recruitment for the front desk. You know, last year we got 22 applicants for firefighter. We have 190 for the front desk. So I don't know how we flip that script. Yeah, and then the IT's ongoing. This is busy season, getting tax forms together. And kudos to Brenda. So with some new requirements from the feds and some new opportunities, the first $12,500 of overtime is not taxable. And however, the feds define hours worked differently than we do here in Arizona. So it seemed simple that, oh, if you worked the equivalent of hour equivalent of 12,500, you don't get taxed on it. But that was the interpretation. But we don't do what's called hours worked in Arizona at Sedona. So essentially what that means is if somebody had an overtime shift and took a vacation or sick day in the same 28-day cycle, then that day doesn't count as overtime. So Brenda has been working on aggregating all the employees to get them a statement of, hey, this is what counts and what doesn't. So it's a lot. And I commend her for taking that on. And then we will be, Elise has been doing a lion's share of the preparation for our awards ceremony, which will be March 7th at Campo de Ensueño. announcement to come.
Could you say where again?
Campo de Ensueño.
In-
It's in Camp Verde, right off Montezuma Castle Highway. It's a little event venue and they cater and it's a neat little spot. We'll get out an announcement.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Daytime or nighttime?
it'll be in the afternoon. Get everybody home before the witching hour. And then, but I kind of mentioned already, but with recruitment, ultimately we had 12 folks, submit for the engineer's test, so that'll be going on in February. And then, interview set for January for the IT system specialist, and then we'll be starting our firefighter recruitment in later part of spring of 2026.
Chief, with the engineers, we had some 18 people take the training.
I believe so, and then there were 16 eligible, and then 12 submitted to test.
Why wouldn't one submit to
A
test
mul-
if they passed? the
a
training?
multitude of reasons, home life, good, positive or negative, just competing priorities with a spouse.
Yeah.
Maybe they, a season of kids busy with sports and they feel like they weren't prepared or not, or maybe they just, that they like the opportunity to move up and serve in that role, but they like their position as a firefighter. So there's a multitude of reasons.
And will they be able to go into the next
Well,
round without
Correct.
testing then?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's personal choice.
Mhm.
We don't make anybody do anything except come to work. And then, excuse me, we've got a couple classes we're sponsoring that support people's preparation for the battalion chief's test, which will be next year. And then, as you all know, some folks attended the AFTA conference. Continue to work on some demo equipment and everybody's diving into budget preparation, aligning our all of our purchasing processes and looking at some different opportunities to better capture what our needs are going to be for next year. So that's kind of what everybody's diving into. And then our physicals, we've entered physical season. All of our operational employees got their blood draws last week, 2 weeks ago. And Battalion Chief Wassel has been working with Dr. Wesley, and he's now introduced we have a VO2 max test we do on a treadmill, and he's now introduced a bike as an option, which a lot of us are excited about, because the treadmill is a brutal test. And those physicals will start up and go for the next couple of months, getting everybody through. And not all organizations offer an annual physical, so I'm pretty happy we're able to do that because it's important. And then our wildland preseason preps are underway. We'll be checking personal protective equipment, and then everybody's going to start doing their pack test. All our operational employees, me down, are required to do the pack test, which is a 3-mile walk, not run, with 45 pounds of weight and under 45 minutes. So
Oh,
we'll be
That's a pretty
cycling
fast-
through.
pretty fast walk.
It's a duck walk. It's pretty ridiculous.
It's as fast as my little legs go, without calling it running.
Yeah. Yeah.
I call it running.
I call it running, yeah.
And thanks to technology, we discovered a few years ago that utilizing a Trails app and GPS, we were actually doing an extra lap. Inadvertently, all these years. So we were wondering why our times were pushing the limit, because we had some pretty fit folks, and like, what the heck, there was a breeze form and we were going farther than we were supposed to.
And is it relatively flat?
It has to be flat. And so we do it on the high school track typically.
Uh-huh.
We have a lap around, we have a course around Station 3 for the guys who do it. It's just about halfway through, you feel like there's somebody down there ball peening your shins with a hammer. It's
So-
great.
Let us know when you're doing this at the high
We'll
school.
get you a pack.
Well, no, we'll come out and cheer you on.
Oh, no, it's earbuds and focus.
You
There's,
can do the ambulance standby.
And is it 45 pounds no matter how much you weigh?
Yep.
So we have
Male and female, no
Yep.
difference?
We have vests that are 45 pounds specific for that test
Got it.
that we bought a few years ago. So we put one of those on and walk 11 and 1/4 lap around the high school track. in 45 minutes or under.
And how much do the board members have to do?
Well,
We'll do the ambulance.
all for here. Put it together. You've done it.
Yeah.
And the VO2 max test we require annually far exceeds what the intent of the PAC test is. And the Department of Forestry and Fire Management is currently reviewing the potential for our annual physical to count as the PAC test equivalent, but until it's in writing, I won't believe it. So,
Good.
yeah. And then we've got Todd Miranda and some others participating on a national level, revising the kind of how we do medical work out in the wildland space. That's kind of neat. Our little district's got folks out with their fingers in a lot of national level stuff. And then just plugging along. And as I stated, Chief Coyle's loving life in Phoenix this week. That is his report. If there aren't any questions.
Any questions? Okay,
Kirk?
Kirk,
Well, good afternoon. December was not super busy because of the holidays and stuff, and a lot of the contractors go on vacation, so that's a little break for us. But we've just been working on still in getting our first due program dialed in. There's a lot to it, and we're getting really close. We're looking at hopefully by the end of this month rolling out the pre-plans for the crews to get out there and start using this, get to the businesses and see the hazards and marking them so we have those pre-plans available to us when they get responding. The IFC thing, I have not heard back from the state fire marshal yet, but I have heard that he is extremely busy because the state fire marshal retired in December and there's an interim in there. And I didn't even realize it, but every district and business and city is submitting to the state fire marshal's office to adopt the 24 code. So where I sit in line, I had no idea. So with that being said, I was talking to Christy today, and I think we're going to probably shoot for the March board meeting instead of February, since I have not. That's important. I got to have that information.
so you're thinking of pairing the public meeting with the March board meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I don't get notice back from the state fire marshal still.
Yeah.
Then we'll-
To be determined.
Yeah.
To be determined. Yeah. What else we got? Good. So we did do a Bikes for Tykes bike rodeo in West Sedona School in December. That's through Toys for Tots, and they get together, they assembled 80 bicycles, had kids lined up, and most of the kids have to attend West Sedona School to qualify. And they come in and they get their bicycle, and Station 4 and us put them through a course out there. So thank you, Station 4, for coming and helping us. It's more than one person can handle, for two people, me and John were there. That went really well. The weather was beautiful. Couldn't ask for a better day. And
Are those purchased, are those new bikes or?
brand new bikes and helmets. They get a new bike and a brand new helmet. They do this every year.
Very good.
Fitted to them.
And they are fitted, yeah. They stay there, and the volunteers, Toys for Tots, sit there and they size each one. Each kid's bike is sized for them.
That's
They just
great.
ride them up, they take them home. Pretty good. So, upcoming events. February 7th, Sedona is going to get very busy with the Run Sedona again. Latest email I got was they're expecting up to 4,000 participants. And each participant will probably have 1.5 persons accompanying them. So this could be 12,000 people in this event. It's going to be huge.
No drones. No
Yeah,
drone zone.
You can't have, no.
No.
They have, somebody tried to fly a drone last time and it didn't go well. So other than that, all that stuff. Yeah, that's about all I've got for December right now. If there's any questions.
I assume on the run that we have a big presence.
We will be staffing, yes.
Yes.
Details, we'll keep them in-house, but we have adequate staff.
He takes us very, very seriously. Where they're barricading entrance with vehicles, so nobody can ram to get in or anything like that.
We are working with our partnering agencies to ensure we are prepared to address all contingencies.
Good.
Okay, I'll go.
Kirk, thank you. All right. Chief Lukowski, I think you're up next.
Okay, let's do it. I'll follow closely with Kirk. We've been working together on the marathon prep, responding and preparing appropriately. One kind of neat thing that's in our little zeitgeist here is the battalion chief prep for the future and things like that. And so we opened, myself and BC Wassel will be participating with the command system thing that day. And we're going to have people with their qualified task book to move up as battalion chiefs shadow us so that they learn in real life planned event, things like that. So it's kind of a cool, unique thing that trying to grab the opportunities wherever we can to get them ready.
How many people do we have with qualified task books open?
There are
Chief.
Leave seven.
seven.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Couple or more.
Not completed, but open.
Yeah,
open.
yeah.
Couple are, yeah, thank you. A couple are more active, than others.
And how many do we expect to bring on?
For the event,
No, ultimately to.
Well, from 20, Buzz is a hard,
prep thing.
Buzz is the hard 2027 of September. That'll be a vacancy. And then Jordan can leave anytime between now and then. As can I,
Works tonight.
as can I and Chief Coyle and Chief Wassel. And so to have a list, it is of critical importance to us.
Thank you.
So the simple answer, by 2031, potentially 5.
Trying to find any way that we can get them ready. There's something else. Anyway.
It must be helpful to have the list early.
We attempt to maintain a list. Just by circumstance, the last battalion chief list was exhausted. And we have a 3-year cycle so that people, and it's in perpetuity. So, and it's been 3-year cycle for 10 years. So they know if, when, we don't, hey, there's a test coming up. They know that this year cycle is battalion chief. So it's up to them to prepare.
Okay.
I think
Thank
it'll be spring of 27.
yeah, what's that?
BC test?
Yeah, it'll be next spring.
Yeah, next spring will be the test. All things.
Yeah.
Working as planned. All right. So let's see, for EMS things, our continued work with we're actually gaining a lot of traction internally with some of our paper management work groups and RBO committees. And our medical director is still attending those in the EMS realm, which is super great. He is actually here in this room delivering our update for our state protocols today. And just opened it up to the floor for everyone. So our relationship with him is probably the best in the Verde Valley, I would say. He's really guiding us and letting us have some freedom to change things in the backcountry realm, especially when it comes to heat emergencies, without loading our folks up with more and more gear. He's allowing us to actually trim some things down based on patient outcomes and data, and then his guidance so that we can focus on the real calls we're going on instead of preparing for the everything. And he's been really, really helping us a bunch of that. So those committees are working well. One of those is the interfacility transfer committee, which is always a a loaded topic. I just met with the hospital and their staff. So I meet with them and then I'll meet with our group, kind of give them the deliverables, and then we'll figure out if there's anything to tune up internally. For our battalion chiefs, just to kind of ring the bell for them. They're working really well, being a great partner with the emergency department to help get these patients out in a timely manner without sacrificing service at home for 911 calls, which is the balance. It's very difficult thing to balance. The ER here is seeing, well, they just told me that it kind of took a dip, but over 3-4 years, they're seeing a lot more patients than the past from other parts of the Bowie Valley. We're actually bringing more patients there to 911 lately, according to the hospital.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because as the numbers dipped of walk-ins, our numbers went up to go there. So it's pretty much the course. But yeah, anyway, one of the things we look at there is that the necessity of nighttime transports, and especially at longer distance. That's kind of where we're trying to minimize risk and just confirm that the patients that are discharged to these other facilities, that it's worth the risk to send our folks and that patient to Flagstaff and Phoenix. And that's one of the main things we're working on. But we are part of the community healthcare continuum when it comes to that, because there really is no other resource for them. And many are our residents, i.e. taxpayers, and so we don't want to have them sit in the ER unnecessarily, because that's not giving them help. They need to go to definitive care and get what they need. So we're balancing that and working well internally, I think, too. Yeah. Fleet, we are hopefully going to have a price tag for the remount ambulance shortly. I did get the spec, though I saw some mistakes in it that might push that back, but we're looking at, obviously actually every month, so I apologize, but that's coming. Expect that, and that's it within the budget and the capital plan. Also, we're going to launch a committee to look at purchasing a new ambulance, because we've been able to second ambulance in the Village of Oak Creek on a trial basis. So that's utilizing more resources as we kind of got rid of an ambulance, put it into the training backup. So I think now with the calls going up, talk to Chief Zulus, we're going to look at purchasing 1 year ahead of time compared to remounting another one. And that'll go to the committee internally too.
And in that regard, there's enough room to house two ambulances there.
There's, depends on who you ask, because as you can tell, there's not a lot of room to run out there.
Yeah.
But Station 3 in the village, there's 2 there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Station 4 can house 2. This station can house 2 as needed. Mm-hmm. We're parking the backup next door in that little annex building. There's room. We will figure that part out.
Yeah, Station 2's for quite a while. Our Station 3 for quite a while has had a reserve ambulance there, and it's just on days when we don't have a lot of vacations or sick leaves, we have the staffing to put it up. So, and it's been frequent enough to we're starting to get some outcomes and some data from it.
Sure. And then we met with Hughes, which is our Pierce Manufacturing, that's a fire truck rep, to make sure that I've discussed in the past how a lot of times the price increase and delays are self-inflicted. And so we met with our rep, that's i.e. salesperson, to make sure that we weren't out of bounds with requests and trying to spec out these engines. And we were exponentially under anything that would be, and I mean, like, compared to Phoenix Fire, for instance, I think we had 10 times fewer change orders in our spec than they did. And so here we kind of proved we're not the problem. We're talking about even sending ours in to be manufactured in a different plant throughout the country to get it in a more timely manner. So
How is that timely manner coming along?
well, from
48 to.
Yeah, it was gonna be 54 months, and I think we don't have finalized paperwork yet. It's 36 to 38.
Well, it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, as long as we stay within these fences and don't go crazy and get, gold flake or something, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, bells without whistles. And our hope is, we actually have that within the capital plan too. Hope is to finalize that before July, so that we can get actually this spring. The holidays, right when we got traction, the holidays happen. We'll be meeting with them again. Let's see, GIS, Matt Spinelli continues to work with our partners through dispatch, Yavapai County for addressing corrections. Internally, he's been streamlining processes. The different forms and things like that, much like he delivered on in that mini workshop conference thing. He keeps building those for everybody who will ask. We also reinvigorated our drone program, and that's going to play a major role in that because there are non-operational uses in GIS. GIS and drones go hand in hand, especially in public safety. And then we'll have some CRR folks that are on that group, on that team. Matt, they'll be used for training with Chief Baker too. And then, so anyway, he's been spearheading, fill out a charter for that team of what our scope would be. And then he also helped me start a data work group internally so that we're asking the right questions of our organization operationally. Since he's our data analyst and GIS person, trying to push him a little bit back towards his job description. Not that he went amok, but he's a doer and he says yes to everything. So we're trying to bring him back to where his skill set should lie. See, maybe a couple last things. As far as behavioral wellness for our membership, Captain Scape leads that. We just did a kickoff meeting for the year, planning on trainings throughout the years, and then went over critical calls we've been on, so a critical call tracker, which is very important should a responder ever have to claim through the industrial commission that they had a call that was so impactful that it affected their career. So we're really trying to button those things down so we don't shortchange them and we're capturing the data that can help them in the future. And John's really helping a lot with that. And let's see, lastly, a little pencil it in thing so far. In May, everyone remembers we had an EMS week open house in the village of Oak Creek last year, 24.
It was 24,
24.
25, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do that in May. EMS week is the week prior to, so it's gonna be the 16th through the 23rd of May. So I think that Saturday, the 23rd, looks like when we will be doing that. The fire chief didn't ask him, but he'll be making burgers. And we'll have open house for CPR. CRR hasn't heard about it yet, but they'll be there. This was a thing just today, but I know you guys, I think everyone who's on the board at that time came, so.
Is it the same location, same station?
I think,
Station 3 going.
yeah, 3's good because there's a lot more parking and stuff too. And bigger, we can have the days. Yeah, I know that's me droning on, but any questions?
Can we do one in Station 1? Because the only thing I'm thinking, and I love the one you did at Station 3, but that leaves a whole bunch of people unconnected. And you're doing it where most people already feel a sense of connection to Station 3. So I just put it out as a,
Yeah, it's just difficult, like busing with the parking.
yeah,
I'm fine with wherever. Yeah,
I just put it out as a bit of feedback.
Okay. Any questions for me?
Yeah. Great, thank you. Chief
All
Baker.
right, good afternoon. As always, it was a pretty busy month. So with our 3-year rotation, we started for live fire training. It was B shift's turn. So B shift battalion made it. Everybody except for 2 individuals were able to attend the training. It is mandatory, but they attended during the new hire orientation, their live fire day. So we did capture everybody on D shift, that standard, attending that live fire training. So it went really well. Great feedback. Actually ended up doing an extra evolution that we didn't think we were going to get in because everybody was so proactive and helping clean up after and reset after every evolution. So it was a great training. Just last week, C Shift did their battalion extrication training. So I think I've mentioned before, this year will be C Shift's year. So in January, they'll do their extrication training. And then in December, they'll have their live fire training. And then we'll switch back to A Shift. So every 3 years, they're getting both of those trainings. It'd be nice to be able to do it annually. It's a lot to ask as far as mandatory off-duty training, and it is expensive. So wanted to at least get some kind of reoccurring rotation where it was known, planned, and we can kind of maintain everybody's certs and make sure. The 2026 annual training plan, I kicked that out last week, so everybody's got that as well. Talked to some folks down at Verde Valley and Copper Canyon. I think they're going to basically do what they did last year. Just it really helps regionally, being able to mirror each other's training. And if we come up with an issue or a problem, we can make a quick call down there and talk to them and see if they've encountered the same thing. So and eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to meet up and conduct some of that training together with regional partners. That went out last week. Quarterly blue card training is coming up. As I mentioned, Chief Lewis has been running that for a while with Chief Lukowski, and now myself and Cap Carver are both blue card instructors as well. So we'll be helping Chief Lewis kind of carry some of that weight for that blue card training. So we'll be getting, we already started with some of the crews, we'll get more of that information out to them shortly, and then hold a larger blue card training where we bring everybody in on all 3 battalions. So everybody in the agency quarterly will go through that blue card training, which is our incident command training. Chief Lewis mentioned the Engineers Assessment Center is upcoming next month. We've set aside 2 weeks. We do have 12 individuals that have applied. And just to reiterate what he said, Chief Lewis said there are additional individuals that qualified to test, but for some reason, personal, professional, whatever it may be, chose not to. And that's okay. That's okay. They enjoy their job now as firefighters, or they feel like they weren't ready, or some outside influence impacted them and took priority. And that's okay. We want to support them, continue to let them move up into that position, even though they didn't test occasionally in that move up position for engineer and operate. And in 3 years, they'll be ready to test again. Hopefully, we'll test for the first time and be better prepared and succeed. So along the lines of that, thank you for moving the February board meeting a little bit later. That helps us on that shortened week, that holiday week. We can actually start some of our stations that week and be in a holiday week. Be in a holiday week, it'll help us having that half a day available, be able to conduct some of that. So I appreciate that. Chief Lewis also mentioned some battalion level chief classes are coming up. I think Chief Miranda's teaching one next, I think it's next week. We're here at Station 1. It's a prerequisite for those individuals to test for battalion chief. So they will have the opportunity to do that in-house. It's nice that we do have instructors that are qualified to teach those classes, and we don't have to send individuals out. So we can take it here in-house. And I believe there's 5 or 6 individuals that are enrolled in that class right now that will be taking that test and meet that prerequisite test. So went back and I just did a real fast count. We do have 7 individuals with battalion chief task books open right now, and 2 that have recently expressed interest in initiating those task books. So those 2 fall through. We'll have 9 individuals open BC task books, which I don't think we've ever had here before. So I think at the most we've had right now with 7. So it's good to see, and it's much needed, as Chief Lewis mentioned, because between 28 and 32, it's going to be a lot of vacancies. So we need to make sure people are ready to fill those vacancies.
Chief Baker, and I missed the name of The class that's running next week.
It's a task force leader class. It's the NWCG, the National Wildland Coordination Group, task force leader class that we mandate our battalion chiefs to take a class for the preparatory work for that position. They do not have to be qualified for that position. They have to do this for the class.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. So that's for training. That's what we've got going on, what we have planned. Getting some wellness stuff real quick. Ongoing preventative maintenance on some of our gym equipment, our wellness equipment. We do have some new purchases incoming as some of our capital replacement schedules come due for rowers and exercise bikes and treadmills. Those are expensive. We try to do a capital plan to purchase those reoccurring every 5 or 6 years, depending on what that equipment is. So we do have a couple of those upcoming this spring that we'll be purchasing. If they are budgeted purchases. We do have an individual that goes around now quarterly in-house, as I explained, that does a lot of our preventative maintenance. So we're saving quite a bit of money on that as far as having an outside vendor come in and do it. And then Solve Global, the organization that has the physical therapists and technicians came on site for our first on-site visit last week. And it was very well received. I got a lot of calls, a lot of feedback, and actually asked if they're open to come more than one day a week, because once the word gets out, the feeling is we're not going to have enough time for the amount of people that come in to see them, which is great. So we'll see how that goes. They did change. It'll be the first Tuesday. They come in February. They had a conflict with their schedule. They'll be here in February, just a week early, and then back to the second Tuesday monthly. So great feedback. People did not anticipate how much attention they were going to get when they went in there, and we're very excited. So
Chief
that's great to hear.
Baker, I'm
Yes,
curious, do they also take a look at people while they're manipulating the weights and weight training for their posture?
No, not so much as far as the weight training. They do send out a monthly, it's like what do they call it? The comfort survey that you can fill out monthly and let them know, like, hey, I've got some back problems. My back's really tight, stiff when I do these exercises. They can follow up with you. You can provide more information. And then when they're on site, they'll pull up that survey and see what you actually submitted and then cater that little treatment plan they have for you that day to that area specific. But as far as watching us while we're working on, we haven't got to that yet. They do have a facility down in Phoenix where you can do some of those exercises and motions, and they can watch at the same time. But they do and have done for our staff come in and done functional movement screenings like we do internally with a different set of exercises, and then made notations and followed up with some of our individuals for that. So it's a great resource, and I was not here to take part in it, but individuals that did were very happy. So that was good to hear.
That's great.
Yeah, it was good to hear. So that's a good partnership to have, and hopefully we can continue that for a while with a lot of participation. That's all I've got. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you very much, Chief Missoula.
All right. So I'm not gonna do a fire district financials lesson today because I anticipated more questions about the audit, so that was my bad. I wanted to leave time open for that, and it's, again, thanks to those folks, because they did a great job, and it's almost feels like an investigation when they come in and interview me, and I have some doubt. I'm like, well, I think we do that, right? You know, and it's just, it's a very tight process, and now I have some comfort with it, but the first couple of times I'm like, but I think, I don't know, should I call Gabe right now? I'm freaking out. But it's a good deal, and I'm happy. And we put our audit plaque over here, so it's displayed in here. Hopefully we get another button this year, but we're on 3, 4, 5, 7 years in a row of award-winning audits, so, and financials. So I think I'm pretty proud of that and the relationship with JVG.
You know, as a newer board member, it makes me feel pretty confident that I have time to build up my understanding of what the financials are and how they work. Before I have to be totally on it. There's somebody outside coming in and looking and making sure. So that's helpful.
And I appreciate that, because some recent local jurisdictions we're not afforded those opportunities as it relates to a new board member, and they kind of, they're in a good spot now, or a better spot now, but it was tough, because you have to come in and you're full of doubt, because you don't know if what you're hearing is true. And year over year, it's been proven that we've got our ducks in a row, so it's good.
It's great.
Capital project updates. We had our pre-construction meeting with the city, and I didn't count how many times she said, I don't see any big red flags, but it was a lot. And a couple of the sticking points were some concerns about vegetation and per city zoning requirements. And I indicated that we were not building a station in Uptown that is not adhered to Firewise standards, and that they understood that position and learned a lot. Different trees with different trunk diameters and shrubbery, and whether it's native, non-native, or on a point scale. And it's something, I met the city's new Firewise individual and strongly recommended they meet with us, and we joined together and worked together on educating this community on Firewise, because as I've explained before, the counties and the city have zoning requirements and planning review requirements that conflict with Firewise. So that was a good opportunity and segue to have a conversation with the city, and we're hoping to make some movement on that. And then there was some stuff with our ADA accessibility in the station, and I think we're going to work through that. So that's really good with Station 4. And had the engineering continues, had the coring done, and it went down 18 feet of good soil. We didn't recognize that opportunity at our current Station 4 site. So again, a win, because no blasting or heavy rock work to get prepped for that station. So that's good.
That's awesome.
And then working with LEA Architects, we're still on track as per the timeline described in their initial conceptual estimate. And the date to be determined, but their recommendation is we plan for a public viewing in March. And we'll probably do it here at Station 1. There was some talk about, on site, but I don't know how practical that would be with weather and things like that in March. So don't want to have something out in the rain.
Chief, before you go on,
Yeah.
did the city give any indication of when they could come?
We haven't submitted for approval yet.
Oh, okay.
But no, they indicated they want to be good partners and make sure we keep the process going.
Great.
The parking lot that we are working to get an assessor parcel number on, submitted months back. I got a response from the city Friday. And I'm waiting for a response because I followed up today. We currently have the annex building there, and Scott's worked with LEA to have some conceptual drawings done of us redoing that to make it look good as a district structure and accommodate our IT folks, and look at redoing the office space there. So I'll bring some of the conceptual stuff with that to you all next month to review. The estimates are a little higher than we budgeted for this year, so we're doing a reset. But back to the parking lot. So the city intends on starting a multi-use path down to the fire station side of Forest Road, which will require us to remove our handicap ramp. And we're working on a no-cost solution for the district with that, if we're going to accommodate their needs. However, the city's review of our parking lot parcel change states that it doesn't allow enough of a landing pad for the handicap ramp that we all know they've told us they need to remove. So I'm trying to deconflict. So they won't let us get a parcel number because we no longer meet ADA on the ramp that we've already had conversations in the meeting about removing. I don't know how to explain it better than that. I'm confused as you all are. So more to come. I sent them a response today, and I'm hoping to get something in the next couple of days, but that's the holdup.
Left hand, right hand.
Yeah. And so, yeah, enough about that.
Is that the only holdup? Is that?
Yeah, because the landing pad is not sufficient for an ADA ramp as we redrew the lines.
Right.
on the ramp that we're getting rid of. I know, I can't. And then, we're looking at some conceptual ideas for current Station 4 and future use. Everywhere from a parking lot to, what if we repurpose that building for administration or, and we're reviewing some options with that, and we'll be bringing to the board soon. And there may be a low upfront cost to get some drawings done, just some conceptual drawings done for just, because I know a lot of you are very visual people as I am, and but it'll be something we evaluate and park on a shelf until we get further down the road with Station 4, because we're still a couple of years out from vacating that building. So we want to kind of have an idea of what we could use that space for. And then we'll be submitting, had a few, conference actually helped me a lot. I had a few questions about some of the state park stuff, and we'll be getting something to the state parks in the next couple of weeks for Station 5. The ball seems to keep moving on opportunities with that, and to our benefit, I feel, but it's just striking while the iron's hot. We want to strike now because November's the governor's election, and depending on how it goes and the way the state parks and those systems work, we can put a bunch of work in it and have the director replaced and start over. So we're trying to time it right, and so we'll see. The odds are better than blackjack, but it's still questionable. Other than that, with capital projects, we had engineering done out at Station 3, and they're going to come up with a proposal to fix the drainage issues out there. This was an unanticipated opportunity for us. Thanks, Scott. But the bottom line is it's repair and maintenance of existing facilities, and we've got electrical conduit that's bubbling like a fountain, and it's not supposed to do that. So it's and then we've the far side of the bay from the crew quarters, for example, some outlets stopped working, and it was discovered that there was enough water in the conduit over years that the copper wiring degraded inside the zinc coated conduit and just failed. And so,
Wow.
so we either invest in improving drainage and reducing the underwater aquifer below Station 3, or we continue to expend tons of money to fix systems that are breaking. And so, and the conduit that's bubbling into the station is in an IT room, and that's not a good thing. It's just, there's new opportunities every week, So those are the big capital things we're working on. And again, vehicles, as Buzz stated. It's neat to discover that as it relates to ambulances and fire trucks, we're pretty basic with our asks, and so that's helpful. But because you don't know, and I think our ambulances are pretty nice and our trucks are pretty nice, but as it relates to other districts, we're pretty conservative in how we build our apparatus for functionality. So, and as you all know, that nearest, did anybody go to the nearest class at AFTA? Okay, everybody's facing the same struggles right now with getting data collection and everything, because and in-house, it seems to be going well. The nearest rollout, let Jeff Buzz or Jordan chime in if it's. I know Kirk had some issues just pulling basic data. It used to be easy to pull because of the new structure. So we're all learning it too.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. We have that's a new national database, which is really well intended, and it's supposed to eventually capture the modern fire service, including EMS parts and wellness and exposure for cancer and things like that. But then our vendor for our reporting is ESO. So ESO has to change their format so that it is nearest compliant after having infers for generations. So they're figuring it out all while we're already switched to it. So I don't know which cart was before which
Well,
one.
there's no pause and calls.
Yeah, there's
So
no
we're trying to do this and continue emergency operations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, end of year, we I believe we're 60, 80 calls under last year. Just over 4,800 calls this year for at end of year, December 31st, which is, that's not extraordinary to have a 100 or 200 call trend year over year. And then, you know, there's no rhyme or reason. It's what it is. And, let's see the other thing I had. 'Tis the season. I was going to listen to you guys after the meeting. I just got the email. I get a weekly AFTA this time of year, a weekly AFTA legislative report. And this is first blush. We're a week out from submission in the Senate and the House. But AFTA is currently tracking 79 bills that could impact finances or EMS or community risk reduction, taxes and things like that. It'll, over the coming months, if we follow past year's trends, it'll whittle down to a couple dozen, and then they'll get squashed or killed or die. But like I said, I got it this afternoon. I did a quick read. There's some potentially impactful stuff to the district financing and EMS operations and CRR. So I will get you this email, and then I will make it a point to get regular updates at the board meetings on the legislative stuff, because this is, in the past 5 years, is the most bills that have ever been submitted this year, year over year from the past. And it's not quite double, but it's substantially more.
And it still hasn't closed, has it?
It has closed.
Oh, it has closed.
And there are a few bills that we've been watching for a few years and have killed, but specific to CONs and EMS as one example. And the bottom line is they've had 2 or 3 years now to get their language right. So I think they have a good skin in the game this time, and I think that might push through. And then just dissecting some of the impacts, I mentioned before the meeting, one of the bills, if you're mortgage free and over 62, you can exempt yourself from property taxes, is one of the bills. And so with the median age in the village of Oak Creek being 65, I don't know the numbers of who, mortgages that are paid off, but there could be a potential hit to us with that. And then any other ones that flag you guys that were?
There's the other one I'm gonna try to take. We get a credit on our pension costs, so about $200,000 a year. That's paid through property tax collection. That somebody's trying to grab that money as well.
And then Coconino County submitted to the state, and I don't have the verbiage right, but it basically a request to evaluate starting a special taxing district that would support, as it reads, courts and public safety. But if you read the language, it's not public safety, it's courts and law enforcement. While that doesn't necessarily take dollars away from the fire district, it adds another special taxing district potentially that would, for some, cause concern, and it might impact any initiatives that we're going after to increase fire district funding, if there's that. And then I'll next month I'll have a better report for you, but Captain Rodriguez with our organization as the local 3690 president is sitting on the Professional Firefighters of Arizona Fire District Funding and Campaign Committee. And so he's working, representing Northern Arizona rural fire districts in our interests, and trying to work with AFTA and AFCA to make sure this, we can look at opportunities for fire district funding. So he'll be a good resource for us in the coming months. But I don't mean to sound doom and gloomy about the legislative report, but first blush is, and they always do this, they hit hard and then they start to peel off, but I will keep you guys in the loop on that. And then we didn't have any purchase orders over. That's for today.
Oh,
Yeah. And so that's my report, if there aren't any questions.
Any questions for the chief? Okay. Chief Mazzillis, thank you. Okay. We have for discussion and possible action, the approval of a purchase order to Swift LLC in the amount of $70,707.84 to purchase turnout gear for operational and community risk reduction staff. Anyone like to speak on that, to have some background?
Yeah, so this is for firefighting turnouts. The suggested standard is that every firefighter has 2 sets of turnouts. So if you soil a set on a fire, you can get into a clean set while your other set is being washed. And it's cancer mitigation is the strategy. And this is a budgeted purchase, and it's part of a year-over-year continuing program to maintain replacement turnouts for our staff. It's something that will go on in perpetuity unless the laws or the rules change or they invent some new equipment. But this is like our fire hose, like our any of the equipment we utilize for emergency response. This is, as stated, this was a planned and budgeted item.
All right. Any questions about this? Okay, so I so move that we approve PO number 249 to Swift LLC in the amount of $70,707.84 to purchase turnout gear for operational and community risk reduction staff. Is there a seconder?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. It's approved.
All right, thank you.
So what we have left is board member updates and ideas for future meetings. So any board member updates that anyone wishes to share? Then I will simply remind everyone that the time for the next regular board meeting is February 17th, 2026, and it was changed from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.